What's going on, guys? Jam Feld 2010 here, and today I just want to kind of, sit down and talk about basically my absence, or I wouldn't even say absence, basically my AWOLing and where I went for 9 months. Why I pretty much AWOLed the entire community for like 9 months, and also kind of have a little channel update again because it's been a while since I've kind of updated anything. So, the first half of this video, I'm going to put timestamps in the description, basically showcasing, basically talking about my absence and where I was for 9 months. And then I'm going to talk about the channel update and basically everything that's going to be kind of happening in the future. So let's get down to talking about this. The reason why I basically went AWOL for 9 months, because I went AWOL from mid or January 2025 to mid-September 2025. It's a much more complicated story because this already had like buildings and like stuff even as far back early as like late 2023. Because if you guys were not around during 2023, because I know a good portion of you have not, my channel basically from mid-July 2023 to basically mid-December for a solid 5 months went through, I would say, almost zero. Like it went through almost zero. Forgetting what they call it, but basically like when they push YouTube pushes your video out, the algorithm, they basically went through zero algorithm. Like I had very little growth during that time period. And I was just like, I was already getting frustrated a bit. But, finally things slowly started to turn out a bit. I was growing the channel a little bit more. Shorts, because if you guys don't know, Shorts is probably about how I think 80% of this channel's subscriber worth was built on. Like, I don't think it was all built on just Shorts, but a good portion of it was built on Shorts. But the big thing, though, was, I kind of ideas, and going into 2024, I made the decision that at the end of the year, I was probably going to go all right. We did not plan on telling anybody that I was going to disappear. I was just going to straight up disappear for a while. Then there were a few other things as well. I made a decision in May 2024, and I'm going to explain in just a second that, okay, I've had enough. I'm leaving the community, and I just started cooking out, just getting on a grind of putting out as many videos as possible. And I think it was either July or August that I finally put out the last videos I had kind of planned, and there were a couple extras I kind of spread through there. But basically, by July, 95% of like the rest of the year's videos were done. So basically, until then, I pretty much was not doing anything related to this channel for us probably almost a solid year. And the last video, of course, I posted was my Motorsports soundtracks video thing, which I think was number 6 in the line that I did. That was in early 2025. And after that, I just straight up just ghosted everybody. Now, the reason why it happened, though, fully, is if you guys have been following if you guys have been following Motorsports, which I don't know how, the recent time of Motorsports has not been good. Like, I'll just straight admit right now, it's just not good. Like, the state of the entire sport is, like, I think, honestly, it's at one of its worst since COVID, at least. Like, at least in terms of looking at it, like, as a legitimate motorsport. Because here's the thing, Monster Jam at this point is not a legitimate motorsport. And I think part of it may have, not always been legit, but it felt more legit, more like an actual legitimate motorsport, racing and even freestyle as well. Back even in the mid-2010s, to a certain degree, it felt like that, even with the FS, during the pretty horrendous FS1 era, because FS1 was part of Monster Jam's downfall. Or at least, with how it was a legitimate motorsport. Fox Sports 1, I think, played a role definitely in that factor. But that part is way more complicated. But, it just nowadays feels straight up like it's not even legit. Like, it's not even like Feld did not even take Moshim, like, you can't take Moshim to be something serious, but it's not even something that feels legitimate anymore. It's like what WWE kind of turned into in 2025. And now with this whole new, like, corporate era bullshit that's been going on, I just don't see myself ever being interested in ever even having thoughts of returning at all. Because anything that involves something corporate should be a massive red flag. Like, that should be anything massive red flag. And it's not like, this is a new thing, because there's been many issues, I'd say, that have been hurting Motorsport. And a lot of them have been failed decisions, with the tours thing. Well, the tours thing is not even close to the worst thing that's been going on right now. There have been a lot of bad decisions with a lot of trucks and lineups, and I think just overall driver kind of decisions. And the driver thing is a minor issue as well. But where I think I drew a line was two instances. One is the community. The community, the Motorsport community, is not the most toxic. That goes to Formula One. In terms of motorsport, that goes to Formula One without a question. But in terms of like Motorsport, the Motorsport community is one of, if not the most ignorant communities on the entire internet. Because it's just plain ignorance from a lot of people who just do not, like, there are some jackasses who I think, regardless, and I think this is with every single thing, but Motorsport especially, there are some jackasses who, regardless of how bad a product is, will watch it no matter what, like to the end of time. They are that into that, they'll watch it. I mean, hey, you do your own damn thing, but it doesn't make it look that good. But especially with something like Monster Jam. But the big issue though is there are people who were, I know, cannot confirm, but I know worked for Feld at some point, who actually defend it on their life for it. Those are Feld shields. They pretty much defend their company. And it makes you, like, if you defend the company, it makes you look bad. Like, it doesn't matter any company, but especially like a company that is heavily criticized and deservedly so being criticized. If you're trying to defend them, you just make yourself look terrible. Like, there's just no denying it. And not everybody's like that. But there are a few communities and it's not very obvious on YouTube. You might catch some little bits of it, but it's on Discord where the worst of it is. And the Sim Monsters community, I think Sim Monsters community, which is a Rigs of Rods type of community, a lot of people said that one's more just toxic than just overall shit, overall industry plant shill type of shit. But the USHRA server, that's a server I used to be in at one point. I did not get banned from that server. I left on my own damn accord because I just got fed up with that server. There are at least two people in there, I think, that at least are or were moderates at the time I left, that at one point worked for Feld. And then there's another one, I'm almost certain, at least one of them I'm for certain, worked in there at one point. And if they didn't, they're doing a terrible job of making themselves not look like they worked there, because they just straight up were shields. They straight up just defended anything Feld did. Even though it is obvious, with 2017's whole PR nightmare, which that's something I just don't want to get into. Or the other PR nightmares of 2019. I may make a video talking about Motorsport Jam's PR nightmares of 2017 and 2019. But they pretty much just defend anything Motorsport Jam is. And there are some jackasses who do that even on YouTube, but it's not as obvious. And I'm not calling any single person out, by the way. But you probably know who you are. You are not allowed to speak for yourself. But as for, why I started having issues with certain figures on Discord, there are probably 3 people I had issues with, and I just eventually, started getting fed up with community. Then comes World Finals 23. The whole Fortnite encore shit. And then one thing you've got to say is the encores have taken a nosedive. For watching World Finals, the encores have taken a nosedive. Regardless of anything that they do, it's just a nosedive. And I'm sorry, but the whole new Motorsport show on Epic Games, fun fact, I just got gifted that for Christmas. And the only reason I would actually play is just because I got gifted it for Christmas, because I don't want to offend anybody. Because I don't even support the game. I just don't, I just don't support stuff, because the reason why, because I like certain things Epic Games is like Rocket League, and I know Fall Guys is also heavily made by Epic Games, but Fortnite is the bottom. I am not a big fan of hero shooters, but Fortnite is just the most toxic type of just game that you can play, because it's either filled with 9-year-olds or it's just toxic. Sometimes 9-year-olds themselves are toxic. So I just try to just not even bring up that game. So whenever Motorsport chose that game of any of the, Epic Games, because there's a game perfectly made that you could have done that was heavily based on motorsports. Rocket League. You could have built a whole huge-ass life-size RC car and jumped over that. That would have actually been kind of cool as shit. Instead, you use a whole-ass bus, just a freaking bus, the Fortnite bus shit, and you just jump over that, because And overall, the whole thing would seem lame, but at least the RC car, seeing a life size, kind of RC car would be a cool phenomenon. And watch a monster jump over it, that'd be cool enough. It's still kind of not like Encore level, but this is just proof that they're just in it kind of for money, and for they're just choosing children, because they're not even trying to appeal to families anymore. And I think they've always been kind of heavily focused with children, but it was more meant to be a family experience, and also felt legit. This just meant that they were just in entertainment. It's a full-on entertainment. I think monster trucks have always been entertainment, but I think there was also legitimacy. Now it's just straight entertainment and not even legitimate. And that just drove me. That was just the nail in the coffin. And the community's reaction just kind of it was half and half. But the community, a lot of people were just kind of said, "Oh, this is fine. This is some of this could actually be cool." Fuck that. That just drove me right over the edge. I said, "Fuck that." And some fuckers ended up attacking me for that. And I said, "You know what? Fuck that. I've had enough. I'm done." And I pretty much just stopped almost interacting with almost anybody on the community at that point. And once 25 went around, I just AWOL'd everybody. I did not care. I just AWOL'd. And there are a few, and I will just straight up say, a lot of the community is ignorant, and I just do not have a lot of respect for figures in the community. The list you're seeing right now are people who I actually have respect from the community. And you may be noticing where are certain other people's as well. Well, the list you're looking at right now is of figures who are just not active, really. I wouldn't consider active. They're inactive figures in the community who I'd say are okay-ish. The rest are either just, I just do not really I just don't really have respect for them. There's a lot of figures in the industry I just don't respect. And that's fine. I really don't care. If you see my new description, I simply don't care. And, this whole thing, and, I've gone on a tangent about talking about, at Mosheim's last years, and I haven't even talked about the trucks, by the way, and you guys see it through screen right now. One thing is obvious is that whoever's in charge of sponsorship and design of these trucks just needs to be fired, because the Tech Deck, Rec Deck, that is probably, I'm just going to straight up say, that is the worst felt truck ever released. That's not even a question. Not only is it ugly, it's just an offense to a sponsored thing. Just anything sponsorship, it is just so bad. It is the worst felt truck. And in the last 2 years, there have been every single felt truck since, I'm trying to think, it's not Velociraptor. That's one of the worst independent trucks ever created, one of the ugliest independent trucks ever created. But Thunder Source, that truck's not very good. But compared to that is one of the least worst of the felt trucks that's released in the recent. And Classroom Crusher, a truck that I find offensive as hell, just in the way it looks. Unironically, it's probably in my top 5 worst felt trucks made of this decade. That will probably be bottom 5. And if felt continues on the rate they are with releasing trucks the way they are, they probably will be, it may not even make the list. That's how bad the direction of felt is creating these certain trucks. It has gotten to a point where it's just why do you even care about even the truck design anymore? Because these just look horrific. And even El Toro Loco, they gave a disgusting nose job to El Toro Loco. This is some freaking plastic surgery shit. Come on, give me a break. That's just wrong. And I'm dead ass being serious right now. If Feld ever, for some ungodly reason, I know they've never do this, but if somehow some crazed ass fucker retires El Toro Loco and Gravedigger, they're dead. Botch Jam would be actually dead. And, there's just this whole thing of oh, why'd you go support your local indie event? I'm not into that type of local indie event. And plus, there's just no major monster truck in thing that screams anything that would be fun. That's just worth putting your money on. At this point, it's not worth to even go to a monster truck show, in my opinion. And I know I'm probably wrong about that, but I even feel the entire industry as a whole has been in decline. I'm probably wrong about that, but it feels the whole industry is in decline. And there's a few other things I'd want to say as well, but that's kind of the gist of the whole thing. Kind of why I left. And I went on a whole tangent for a while, so that's why I'm putting timestamps in here. But that kind of just explains kind of why I left and why I came back. And I'm just going to say real quick, I just feel I have some unfinished business to do. It's not for the community. It's for not for the monster community. It's mostly for my own self kind of indulgence and enjoyance of doing this type of content stuff. and for like my own personal community, because I don't consider myself a part of the Mach Jam community. I do not. I consider myself my own community. I have 1,000 subscribers, and thank you guys for that. And I full on just, have kind of been working this thing as well for the last 3.5 years. So with that in mind, now that I've, probably turned a good majority of you away from this channel, and some of you may have unsubscribed because of my opinion, which I don't even give a shit at this point. Now it's time to talk about the important thing, the channel update. Basically, the unaired events and unaired shows. With, the whole thing of Mach Jam and Feld potentially releasing it, again, I am somewhat hesitant. I really am hoping they actually do release this at some point in 2026. I sent 2 separate emails to certain subsidiaries and Feld themselves. And basically the response I got from Feld was, yeah, go fuck yourself. Response. So basically, unless I get something from an actual person, I think, I don't, have any, I just don't, really know when any type of update on the Feld, tapes of old Mach Jam events, from the vault could end up releasing. But if a Mach Jam vault channel, or if the vault of the old tapes are released on Mach Jam themselves and they release them to the public, 2026 or whatever year they are released in, whether it's 2026 or 27, that year will be the last year I do unaired shows and events. But 2026 likely will be the last year I heavily do unaired events. I still have, and most of these events are going to be remakes. Not many of these are going to be new events, because some of these have been needing remakes because either new footage has been found or simply it's just better production quality. And there's going to be some definitely that you will notice throughout this video. Now, the second part of this channel update is, if you've noticed lately, I've been doing a new series called the But It or They Get Increasingly series. You may have noticed the playlist. Yes, I've started doing old Mach Jam seasons from 2004 to, I plan to do it all the way from 2004 to 2016. Every single old season in between, every single season in between that was televised, and even some extras. But it gets increased series. It's basically just an excuse to show more old Mach Jam clips, but also do seasons from, normal seasons where it's almost impossible to do, highlights of season highlights of, like 2004, 2005, or 2004 to really 2006 is damn near impossible to do like a actual show to show based highlight video, because copyright. And 2008, 2009 as well is like that as well, where you cannot do it much at all. It's not very easy to do. So that's, kind of where this whole thing kind of came together. Secondly, I have, it's really, it's just kind of a fun, type of thing to look back on, just more excuse and more stuff to older seasons. But there's going to be other seasons. Well, it's not just seasons. It's going to be, certain things that you're going to have to wait to see. Some of these things, though, will probably not be coming out until October, at least, maybe even November. I have so many videos I've already made and have backed up and ready to release in the future. Just expect that to kind of eventually release. Now, the third thing is, you may have noticed as well, I've been posting some community posts as well. I've gone back to doing old community posts, and some of these have been tracks, like die-cast tracks, using Kinetic Sand. I have been doing this for about 5 years now, using Kinetic Sand to build tracks. And overall, they have that kind of cool, look, showcasing overall. It kind of has a realistic, because you get mold. I use a few of, the crushable cars from Hot Wheels that you get in 2018 to mold the cars into, the Kinetic Sand into cars and vans, and stuff like that. And I make, my own motorhomes and buses and stuff. But they'll be almost to scale, not exactly perfectly scale, but they'll be close to scale. I may release a video at some point in the future. It'll be a while, but I may release future how I make the tracks and behind the scenes how I make the tracks. The one thing I'm going to say is that if I'm able to figure out how to get a standing up still start kind of thing, you may see sign up series type of diecast racing, because I have way too many monster truck diecasts. I'm just going to straight admit right now, I have way too many, and some of these could be put to use as well in a diecast racing series. Do not get your hopes up for it, but if I can figure something out on how to kind of get a starting stand high in the air where I can get them racing down, then I can do that, because my table does not have that. It's in the air. It's not like on the ground, because up in the air is actually probably better than like on the ground, but you're probably gonna struggle and lose cartilage in your knees trying to do it on the ground. Now, the last thing, this could be the big thing that I think some of you guys could be interested in. If you guys not remember, in late spring, early summer of 2023, I did a Monster Jam Roblox series. Yes, I know, Roblox with the whole lawsuit situations in which they absolutely deserve to get sued. I did a Monster Jam series called Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam. It's very original, totally not off of the real Monster Jam Advanced Auto Parts name. But it's basically kind of a Roblox sign-up series type of league thing. It's kind of, like a series where like you sign up and you get a ride. I didn't have nearly enough people, though, that signed up, so I had to fill the field out with other people just like I could find to fill out 48 trucks. This year, that I have plans on that returning. And I'm just going to let you know right now, I've already got to filming a few, and actually I've already some saved up. So I've already kind of saved up a few. I'm going to be using Monster Trucks Overdriven on the Roblox thing, the Monster Trucks Overdriven game for the season 2. The era is going to be from 2008 to 2013. Now, for when this is going to be starting, expect something about this sometime in March or early April. I would say is when you should hear like how the first introduction and then the intro and then kind of, the whole signups, because I'll explain more though in the introduction of season 2. But yes, Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam series is coming back for a second season, basically like almost 2 years later. And if you follow that, if you're interested in that, get ready, because there will be stuff, and I'll explain more in my introduction video. That's basically about all that I think I have for this video, kind of explaining everything. So if you made it to the end, give yourself a gold star, because it's been a long video. If you made it through probably about the 20 minutes of me rambling and ranting and kind of talking about why I left and about, why I'm Monster Jam and stuff, like and subscribe, and if you, are interested in stuff, any future stuff in the channel, let me know. And the last thing is, you'll notice, it was that community post. There's actually going to be a community thing where you guys can actually post like your own posts, like whether it's photos of whatever you're doing, whether a Monster Trucks event or whatever is going on, or wherever you're doing, just pretty much anything is open, not just Monster Trucks, but pretty much anything. You can post kind of stuff there. It's kind of like a community type of thing, and certain other channels have this as well, and some people don't even know this, but you can kind of join that as well, and I'll make a post about this whenever I officially release it. But anyways, that's about all. Like, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys next time.